He's the best player I've ever seen. I don't know what else there is to say. Spencer Strider wasn't holding back when it comes to Ronald Acuña Jr., and neither are we here on BPTV. I'm Cory McCartney. He's Grant McAuley, and the topic du jour may as well be the topic du année. Some love to my middle school French teacher, Mrs. Versailles, there, because Acuña is operating a level that conjures up three letters, M, V, and P.
Yeah, I don't know how those letters are pronounced in French because I did not take French in high school, but I can tell you in any language, it doesn't matter. I mean, the translation's the same. What Ronald Acuña Jr. is doing on the field, what people are seeing from the eye test, from the numbers, from the advanced metrics, whatever you want to do, however you want to slice it up. Maybe we could even go on over to science class and try to figure this out, or math class. I don't know. But either way, this has been a tour de force for Ronald Acuña Jr. over the first 6-7 weeks of the season. I just don't know that I can look across baseball and say, okay, yeah, Ronald's having a great year, but you really got to give it to this guy. Maybe Shohei Ohtani is in that discussion because he does things that no one else can do on the mound and at bat at the same, at the same time at a level in which we may never see again. But putting that aside, that's the only caveat I can think of that could take away from the overall luster and shine of Ronald Acuña Jr. doing what he's doing thus far, and the fact that there's a lot of baseball left to be played, and he may have some history to make this year.
Yeah, he's now homered in 4 straight games, one off the franchise record he shares with 8 other players, including 3 Hall of Famers. He leads the majors in F4 and OPS in the NL, and WRC plus in average, is also the leader at every major sports book right now for the NL's most valuable player odds. The last 2 years, Acuña was central to the storyline. In 2021, it was whether the team was going to pack it in after his knee injury. Spoiler alert, they didn't win the World Series. Right. Last year, it was about the path back and the frustrations that came with it. This, Grant, isn't just a different level. It's one of potential historic proportions. Over the last 20 years, through this stage of the season, only 2 Braves have had a better weighted run created plus at this point. Chipper Jones in 2008, Freddie Freeman in 2017. Then there's the pace he's on with 11 homers and 18 steals, putting him on pace to become the first player with 30 or more homers and 60 or more steals in a single season.
Not only that, but his pace now, and I've been keeping track of this on Twitter with my 40-40 tracker. Ronald, with his home run against the Rangers in that finale, finally put himself into the 40 home run pace as well. So if nobody's done 30-60, you can bet that nobody's done 40-60 as well. That would be unbelievable. And I went back and looked at the overall on-pace numbers for Ronald Acuña Jr., and I dug up one that I thought was pretty interesting. 200 hits, 40 doubles, 40 homers, 100 runs batted in, 150 runs scored. Ronald Acuña Jr. is on pace for all of those. I put stolen bases to the side because we already know how special that is. There were 2 players in baseball history that had a season like that. Babe Ruth did it twice, and Chuck Klein. Both of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. You've probably heard of one of the 2 of those. I had a lot of people wondering who Chuck Klein was, but let me just tell you, if you have a season like that, and the runs scored may be the hardest part to make all of those things happen, you're doing something pretty special when the name on the list is Babe Ruth and one other Hall of Famer, and it hasn't happened in 90 years.
Well, as it stands, Eric Davis, who had 37 homers and 50 steals in 1987, and Barry Bonds with 33 homers and 52 steals in 1990 are the only 30-50 players in history. It's borderline insane. And to bring it all back around to Spencer Strider, I don't know what else there even is to say at this point. While Acuña is operating a God mode, that's greatness on a different level, Michael Harris II is in the midst of a sophomore slump. The reigning NL Rookie of the Year is sitting at 60 weighted run created plus after 136 a year ago. His F4 is currently at 0 after flirting with a 5 WAR season in 2022. The K rate's down, the walk rate's up, the exit velocity, barrel rate, hard hit rate, they're all up. What's going on with Harris right now?
Yeah, I think this is one of those, what do we call it last month, small sample size theater, because we have to keep in mind, this is somebody that missed 3 weeks of the season when he landed on the injured list. I don't think this is indicative of what you can expect all year long for Michael Harris II, but, the sophomore slump is something that I think has been around about as long as baseball has, or at least as long as we've been voting on Rookie of the Year, which has been going on for a while now. But, if you do look inside those numbers and see the fact that he is still able to hit the ball hard, that he is drawing walks. I mean, he could draw more, of course. That was something I think everybody looked at last year and thought, how does his game grow? That would be a good way to do it. But I just feel like once he's able to consistently really settle in, not have spring training, a week and a half worth of games, sit out for 3 weeks, come back, get a couple minor league games, jump right back into the schedule, I think it's just going to be playing time and reps. And, as far as what exactly has gone on, I haven't noticed anything that altogether different from Michael Harris, and he is going to provide, I think, the quality defense in center field that the Braves came to expect from him last year. So this is just one of those, for me, long season. Guys have got to work through it. You hate when it happens at the very start because it kind of clouds the picture of what the season can be.
Yeah, a year ago, he had a BABIP of 361. That's now at 232. His expected batting average is 40 points below his actual average. The slugging is 100 points below his expected slug, and the expected weighted on base average is 50 below the actual weighted on base average. All of that's a very long way of saying that luck has not been on Harris's side. The batted ball profile is not demonstratively different than a year ago, and all those velo numbers that make you think he could break out at any point. Of course, he and the Braves collectively, no doubt hoping that that's sooner than later. But Harris isn't the only reigning rookie of the year that's taken a statistical step back in 2022. The Mariners' Julio Rodriguez is also hitting below league average right now, which dovetails nicely into the next topic as the Braves begin a homestand with 3 games against Rodriguez and the Seattle Mariners. As of this recording, the Braves have just named one starter for this series, with Bryce Elder going opposite Bryce Miller on Friday. The Mariners will also roll out Logan Gilbert on Saturday, George Kirby on Sunday. Those two latter arms giving the Braves a look at 2 starters who are a big reason why Seattle is second in the majors in rotation F4. Those pitchers, Grant, against one of the NL's best lineup, I think that figures to be the defining storyline of the series.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And I think we know, just kind of doing the simple math on what the week looked like and who started against Texas and who could be starting against Seattle if the Braves choose to keep their rotation in the order. Thanks to the off day on Thursday, I would assume we'd see Charlie Morton and perhaps Jared Schuster after Bryce Elder throws in that opener. But I do think that this is as much or more about the Braves offense as anything. Clearly, the Mariners haven't, and Julio Rodriguez is not alone. There's some guys on that team and that club in general have not been able to follow up on the success that they had in 2022. I've said it once, maybe more than once, but I'll make sure I say it again. There's a lot of baseball left to be played. I still think this is a very dangerous team, and the Braves have had to go through it in this interleague run that they've been on, facing a whole bunch of AL teams with playoff aspirations, whether that was the Orioles, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Texas Rangers, and now the Seattle Mariners. This is kind of a meat grinder of an interleague schedule that they've been on, and then their reward for that will be facing the resurgent Dodgers and Phillies on the other side. So it's an interesting time in the schedule for the Braves overall, but the Mariners, I think, kind of come in looking to get themselves kickstarted, looking to get themselves going, and it's pretty rare to see Seattle rolling into Atlanta to play a series in general. So this should be a lot of excitement for the fans that are out at Truist Park this weekend.
Yeah, in terms of this pitching matchups, former Oakland A's Sean Murphy and Matt Olson, they've seen plenty of Gilbert, but he's an unknown to most of the Braves. Atlanta did face Kirby last season, though it did not go especially well. But over the last 30 days, no team has hit more home runs than the Braves, and only 3 NL teams have scored more runs. So chances are the offense is going to find a way to do its damage. If you needed a reminder, we've always got you covered here on BPTV, so be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and help spread the word. That only happens with your support. Until next time, I'm Cory McCartney. He's Graham McAuley. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon, Braves Country.